I'm Kholi-Murchison. I create content, learning experiences, and products that help creators, entrepreneurs, and multi-hyphenates more clearly articulate who they are, the value they want to bring, and bring their ideas to light. These are some of the most overlooked moments at work where we can really shine as leaders and set the table for other people to shine as well. We're going to talk through what I believe to be 5 of the most recurring alternative leadership scenarios that you can navigate. And we're going to approach each one in terms of what's at stake, who's involved, and what stands to be communicated. So the first one is directionless meetings. And here's what I mean by this. We're gathered for a call that has no agenda, that has no facilitator, that has no one leading the space for the room. What's at stake is having some kind of direction to guide the course of the meeting so that no time is wasted, so that we can rally around a shared idea or common knowing, and so we can move the needle forward on some kind of work. And so what stands to be communicated and making sure we arrive at that is, what's the agenda here, right? Like, what are we gathered here to do? And on the surface, it may not seem like a leadership moment, but if you've been in a directionless meeting where someone took the wheel, you know that that was a moment of leadership, and you probably thank the heavens when you're like, yes, thank you, Holley, for taking the lead and offering us a way forward in this meeting. Now it creates space for other people to show up and engage and participate in the ways that we need them to. Alternative leadership scenario number 2, presenting new ideas and complex information. So I know we've all been there before. We've got a juicy idea that we want to convey, and if you can't do it confidently and compellingly, a lot gets lost along the way. Similarly with complex information, if you're working on a more technical team or you're working on a research team and you have to convey something simply so that perhaps your marketing team can do something with the information, that can be really challenging. And this is a fantastic opportunity to step up as a leader in the way that you communicate. So who's involved? It can vary. This can be on Zoom, this can be in person, this can be anywhere from a one-on-one conversation to one-on-many conversation. So we know that's who's involved. What's at stake is, well, when you're presenting a new idea, you're probably trying to gain traction on it so you can move it forward, so that you can advance some level of work that your team is doing, and that buy-in can really help you advance, not just as a team, but perhaps personally in your career. And on the other end, when you're presenting complex information, sometimes if you're sharing complex information and it doesn't compute, then again, you don't get the buy-in that you need to sometimes move projects forward, or you miss opportunities to connect with the audience you're trying to reach. In the case that you're on an engineering team, you're trying to communicate something complex, but the PR team doesn't get it and it gets lost along the way. So we know that's what's at stake, which gives us a really robust opportunity to step up as leaders in our communication. Alternative leadership scenario number 3, ideation and brainstorm sessions. You can find yourself in a room with 3 to sometimes 15 people, whether on Zoom or in person with your whiteboards available. What's at stake? Figuring out the next idea to move the needle forward, or figuring out the strategy that helps enhance what your team has been working on for months on end. This varies. What stands to be communicated? So many moving parts here. Who's who in the room, right? What their individual roles are in the room, what idea we're taking and moving forward from there, and who we need to share that idea with. Usually it can be any number of those 3 things, and sometimes all 3. Alternative leadership scenario number 4, giving and receiving constructive feedback. Who's involved? Sometimes it can be one-on-one, sometimes it can be one-on-many if you're in some of the previous scenarios we just talked through, right? What's at stake? There's so many different layers and nuance to what's at stake here. The first is the preservation of relationship, right? Because your willingness to give or be on the receiving end of feedback is so crucial to be able to maintain a healthy relationship with the person that you're working with. The second thing that's at stake is your growth and improvement. Can you take the feedback? Can you apply it well? Can we see it happen in your work? And then the third is the person on the giving end of the feedback. It's like your ability to communicate well and get results from your team and support them in that way. Now, what stands to be communicated looks different across the board, but at a high level, what stands to be communicated is, what's the feedback you're giving? Why are you giving this feedback? Where is there room for improvement? And what's a way forward, right? Charting new paths through the giving and receiving of feedback. And the 5th alternative leadership scenario Documentation in meetings. Again, we'll go to who's involved, can be one or many people. Sometimes we're brainstorming in sessions by ourselves. Sometimes we're in meetings with 10 or more people. We need someone to be keeping track of what's being said. What's at stake? Well, have you ever left a meeting and been like, what are the deliverables? What am I supposed to do from this? What's such and such supposed to do? When is our next meeting time, right? So what's at stake is, one, the efficient moving forward of ideas. Two is the deliberateness of communication. And am I gonna have to repeat this in an email? Am I gonna have to take this over to Slack, right? It's something that my wife always says to me, one touch. Can this meeting be one point of connection that we don't have to duplicate over and over again? What stands to be communicated? This one's a little different in terms of documentation, because what stands to be communicated is a log of what we've talked about in conversation that we can then archive to help us move forward smoothly in our next steps. This isn't an exhaustive list, but I want you to think about where you've seen yourself across these scenarios and jot a list down and add any additional ones that you see come up for you on a day-to-day basis at work where you can flex your leadership muscle the next time it comes around.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.